Hey everybody, this is John Zepp with Sales Actually. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, this is the second part of the interview with Master Seller Kerry Kiser. So just a quick intro so you know what you're looking at. But this is great stuff. What he talks about in this section is really some keys to success that he's had over his career. And then the final one, just a sneak peek, is some lessons learned that you can apply, and the message he would tell a younger Kerry Kiser. So that should be some fun stuff. It is some fun stuff. I've seen it. I was there. So enjoy this and subscribe and share it, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. You kind of alluded to one of those keys that you figured out to success, and I was wondering if you could just take another minute and kind of dig a little deeper into one or two of those keys that you've run across in your career that say, you know what, I do this really, really well, and this has led to some great success.
Sure. One of the things in this window when I was around all these instructors, now my job was sales, and I would bring them in and they would do face-to-face teaching. It might be how to analyze a financial statement. It might be executive coaching. It might be sales training. But what I learned from them, and I had the good fortune of being able to watch them in action a lot, because it helped me help the client. It helped my understanding so I could position the next deal. But the whole concept of ask and then tell, and we all tend to go in transmit mode. I mean, I don't know about you, but early in my career, the minute I heard a key word, I wouldn't hear the next 2 or 3 sentences. In fact, I would even cut people off at times early to jump in with whatever that little pearl of wisdom is. One of my favorite instructors had suggested I do something, which I do to this day. On a yellow sticky, I just write out, wait, and it stands for, why am I talking? And it's amazing when you get in that rare moment when people will start to open up and talk. And, you know, most of us want to just jump in and help, but if we can just stay calm and tell me a little bit more about that. Tell me why that matters. Tell me, you know, anything that gets them to continue to open up, man. Once they start talking, man, let them go. So that would be one thing that I thought, found to be, incredibly helpful. The other thing I wish I would have known early in my career, and it's so obvious, but I didn't really pick up on it until later on, is being able to map your personality to the person you're speaking to. And there are a number of personality profiles, and you can go out online right now, but the one that we used a lot, which I still think is invaluable, is that Myers-Briggs. It's the DISC profile. And you're either dominant, or you're an influencer, or you're steadfast, or you're cautious. And you can be a couple of those things, but what it typically means is that if most CEOs and salespeople are dominant, they kind of like to talk. They're very outward as far as the way they verbalize things. Steadfast people tend to be bears for work. They hate being sold. It's just like, would you please just stop that and tell me what I need to do and I'll go do it. And the best way I've heard cautious people explained or described is like talking to your grandparents, where hopefully you're not having to show them how to use a cell phone or whatever, but they are not real quick to adapt. And if you blow right on by them as a salesperson, or blow by that step where you can't get them comfortable, it will bite you. Something will come up and it won't work. You can't get past them. So with cautious people, you just kind of get in cautious mode, and you're very reassuring, and you make sure you get all the questions answered. The challenge that I enjoyed most is typically I would end up in a room, and I'm sure you've been in this situation too. I've got maybe 10 people, but I've got every type in the room.
Yep.
So it's inevitable that you're boring at least 3 people out of 4 to tears. So you've got to kind of keep it moving. So you try and do things to keep the dominant person engaged, because they're off on their phone. The influencer will be chatting you up and cutting you off or whatever. You try and keep them engaged. You try and reassure the cautious person you're not going to do anything that messes those up, or the steadfast person that there is work for them to do and you're not selling them. I've had good luck before just breaking them up into separate groups with the customer's permission. I would interview them early. I had several situations where we had groups, and you had business development, you had training, org development in the room too. but I would talk to them individually, and I would try and get the 2 or 3 things that were most important to them. And ultimately, I would incorporate that into one list that we could rank order. And if we can get those things identified and rank ordered, it's a heck of a lot easier. And then you kind of come back with, is there anything that really concerns you or scares you? And I think too many times we don't ask that question early enough. And if they do, if they'll share that with you and you can ask, you don't get, down the road. The best advice I ever received revolved around doing 80% of the stuff at the front end, and then the close part just sort of happens. But if you do it the other way, you end up with a huge deal in your pipeline that's nowhere close to being closed, and everyone gets disappointed.
Yep. One of the things I think I'm hearing from you that has been a huge buzzword lately is personalization, right? So you're taking those different personality types and going, you know what, you've got concerns about this area. Let's address those, and then go to the next one and go, you've got concerns here. Let's address those, and then see where the synergies are across that. And go, okay, this is the solution that addresses all of those challenges. So that personalization of, hey, here's what's important to you. And that's a skill that's learned. It takes some work to get there, right? To figure out how do I evaluate and analyze and figure that out, and then apply something that makes sense to everybody. So that's work there. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to shift gears just a hair, but one of the things that has had a huge impact on me in my sales career, and I'm sure you've had the same thing, is mentors, right? People that helped me. And then, over the years, you and I both have mentored other people. So talk to me a little bit about mentoring, your thoughts around that, and how that's had an impact on your career.
Sure, absolutely. I've been extremely fortunate. I've had some wonderful managers. And once again, I wish it was because I had some incredible insight or knew my managers early on, particularly in banking and then later on in technology, were really, really very sharp people and very effective at what they did. One piece of advice I would suggest, and there were times when I did it and times when I didn't, but early on in your career, you'll get the chance to jump for a salary bump that seems like a lot. Maybe you've been in the job a year or less, and I know things have certainly changed, but I would be very careful about leaving someone that is really sharp, that's taking care of you. I would surround myself with the best performers and really try and understand what they do and why. Because in many ways, I think no matter what role you're in or what company you're with, there are always those performers that you can give them a brick and a stick and they'll figure out a way to make something out of it. Those are the folks you want to surround yourself with. Have a beer with them, figure out what's going on in their head, because that success, that attitude, that positive attitude is invaluable. So yeah, mentors are tremendous. And I think it's really important. We've all been in situations where either our boss or our mentor has left and you don't have the ability to stay with them anymore. And you have that experience where someone is not quite as sharp or solid. And that can be no matter how good your job is, your quality of life is no better than your boss and your colleagues, at least in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Isn't that the truth? That is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Good insight. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for watching. That was some fun stuff from Kerry regarding some keys to success for him. Those things can be applied no matter what your role in sales. Really valuable information. The next one, like I mentioned at the beginning, is about lessons learned, and then a message to a younger Kerry. And I think any of us have been in sales for a while. If we could talk to ourselves when we were 20 or 30 years old trying to figure this thing out, there'd be lessons to be shared there too. So you'll really like that. Stay tuned. Watch for the next one. It'll be coming out sometime in the next few days. Thanks, everybody. Take care.